Hey guys, it's Marcus here. Today we're out on the Gulf and we're looking at kind of inshore small boat fishing. So you've got a smaller boat, kind of under 5 meters. What are you going to do? And we get asked these questions quite a lot. Where do I fish? What do I do? And you've got lots of options out there. So you've got things like soft baiting. You can fish jigs, whether it be slow pitch or micro jigs. And the one thing that we've looked at today, which a lot of people don't think about and don't necessarily know about, is fishing squid jigs for squid inshore. So we're in a small boat. Weather might not be 100%, regularly it's not. We can't get out deep, so what do? At the moment we're in winter, and in winter typically the fishing's a bit harder because the fish's metabolism slows down due to the cold temperatures in the water. So today we chose to try micro jigs and soft baits to start with, and found that soft baits were definitely the number one. But there's a few key things you need to think about when you're soft baiting at this time of year. So number one, remember that the fish aren't as active as they are in summer in general, so you need to slow things right down. Don't be too active with your action on the jigs. Keep it quite tight to the bottom, and you almost just want to tap it and sometimes leave it, but keep tension with it. And you'll just feel the fish come along, and you'll feel a tap tap, or you'll just feel a weight.
Yeah. Just jams it on the way down.
So you've been fishing with soft baits and things, and you might have done well, you might not. Okay, what else can you target? And squid is a classic at this time of year, so winter fishing for squid is fantastic. Yet not many people know about it, and also most people think it's from shore, whereas your boat can access tons more areas than you can from shore, and it's absolutely perfect and such a fun and tasty thing to go fishing for. Squid love sitting in the weed, and they'll come out from the weed to ambush their prey. So they'll be on those edges of the weed where it goes to that kind of sandy bottom and up in those guts and things. So a lot of the time they're in quite sheltered areas. They don't like too much wash or too much swell coming in. So a lot of the places you're going to fish are actually quite comfortable to fish. The depth they're normally in general, is usually that kind of 2 to 5, 6 meters. So you're not fishing super deep, and that's where small boats come into their own. So you can get in nice and close and really try and target these guys. This is a typical squid jig, and they all come with that chin weight. The chin weight comes in different sink rates. So they start right down at a kind of 1 and go right up to a 5 or a 6. In New Zealand we predominantly use 2.5 up to 3.5, and that dictates the sink rate. A 2.5 will sink slower than a 3, and a 3 will sink slower than a 4. So that's an easy way to think about it. What type of rods are we going to use? So if you've heard about squid fishing before or looked for it, a lot of the stuff we do in New Zealand is predominantly shore based, and we're using rods kind of 8'2", 8'6", 9 foot in length. From a boat, because we're getting right in on the structure, we don't need that length. Doesn't mean you can't use it, but you don't need them to be as long. You're typically looking at 7 foot up to 8 foot max, and the rod needs to have quite a soft action so that it can keep load on the squid once it takes the jig and you pull it in. So you don't necessarily fight them like you would a normal fish. If you were fighting a snapper, you'd lift your rod and wind down and lift your rod and wind down. We're trying to continuously keep pressure on the squid, so winding down on them sometimes takes pressure off them. So what we're trying to do is keep load on the rod and just wind them in at a nice consistent speed. So here we are, we've found a pretty likely looking spot. We've got a bit of rock structure which we can see comes further into the water, and we've seen all around here there's a lot of weed edges. We've got some gutters going up with the weed on the sides of them. So this is the type of place we target. We've got a nice slow drift, so we can target different areas and work those gutters and the edges of that weed to try and find where these squid are. So we cast out, and now we're going to let it sit and sink. So we're not winding up the slack as such, so we're going to let it sink, and it's all relative to the jig weight that we talked about earlier. The action we're going to use is just a couple of sharp jerks, and then we're going to let it sink again. So essentially we're making it kind of go like that and then drop back down, so it looks like it's an injured bait fish or a shrimp. You'll find most of your takes are on the drop or as it pauses. And when you do get a take, the key is to keep tension on that squid the whole time, because he's trying to pull backwards. If you give him any slack line, he can let go and he'll take off. One thing that you really need to be aware of is obviously they've got ink, and they'll shoot that and they'll try and get you if they can, and they have amazing accuracy. So one thing to do is to keep them in the water, put them into your landing net and let him squirt his ink. Try not to have him facing you though, because he can squirt straight into the boat. You've got your squid, he's in the net. How do I kill him? Okay, the easiest way is there's a little hard bit just behind where the two eyes are, and you just need to push either an icky stick or something sharp. There are specialist squid ickies that you can get, but you can use a knife or an icky. Push it into there and twist it, and you'll know as soon as you've killed him, because he'll go from his coloration, which is usually that kind of browny green, and he'll turn pale white straight away. Sometimes it'll only be the hood, sometimes it'll only be the head. If it's one or the other, then carry on and you'll see that the other part of that squid will turn white as well, and you've killed him. Put him straight on ice, keep him nice and cold like you would with your normal fish, and when you get home, look forward to some great calamari. Inshore fishing in winter from a small boat. We're in a 5 metre rib, we've used 5 litres of gas, we've got a great feeder snapper, we've got some blue cod, and to top it all off, we nailed some squid as well. How can you go wrong? So look for that this winter. Try a few new things like squid fishing. Don't know many people that don't like squid, so give it a go, guys. Thanks for listening, and catch you next time.